The real number system consists of 5 smaller sets of numbers. Well, smaller relatively, because they all compose the real number system. The smallest of those sets would be the natural numbers. So natural numbers are the ones that we learn when we first begin school. So those would be like our counting numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. Then at some point, they introduce one new number to us that changes and actually enlarges our numbers, which is the concept of a zero, or a whole, sort of. So we end up with whole numbers. Okay, so we end up with now the concept of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And as we get more advanced in math, we add on the concept of the fact that the whole numbers could actually be changed into a larger set if we just looked at the negatives of the natural numbers. So if we add on the idea that we could actually create this set of integers, what that means is we're now really looking at negative, and we'll kind of dot this, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So really what it is it's the whole number system and its opposites. So now it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on, and all of the negative versions of that. Well, then we get to the thing that most people struggle with, which shouldn't, because that's sort of our most used number system, is the rational numbers. And this is the system where we set up the idea of fractions and decimals. So in these rational numbers, we have things like 0.5, 1/3, fractions and decimals that what we call terminate or come to an end, or they have a pattern. So like 0.33333, that would still fit in the rational numbers. Okay? But what happens if we have a number like pi? So 3.14159265358 goes on, and there's no real number pattern or end to it. Well, that creates our last sort of piece to this real number system, which is our irrational numbers. So the irrational numbers are ones that don't have a pattern, they don't end, but they're still numbers that we're going to have to contend with. We're going to have to deal with those at some point. So how do these numbers all go together? Well, we have this real number system. This real number system basically says the smallest set would be our natural numbers. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. Then we increase to the whole numbers. And notice these are layered circles, which means that every time I add on, it includes the previous one. So as we go up now into our integers, what happens? Well, our integers, not only do they include those numbers that are in the integers, but they also include those whole numbers and those natural numbers. Now, our much larger set that includes the integers, the whole numbers, the natural numbers, that would be our rational numbers. And again, we said that sort of off to its side, doesn't overlap with any of these. That's why it's got this little barrier right here. This little barrier says that over on this side, we have our irrational number system. And that irrational is numbers like pi. A lot of our square roots will go in here. Basically, almost all of those that don't come up with a perfect square. Things that don't repeat, don't have a pattern, they don't end, those go into our irrational number system. And if we put all those together, that completes our real number system. So we have our naturals, our wholes, our integers, our rationals, and our irrationals. Combined, those 5 sets create the real number system.